Making calls to save Earth.
もしもしもしもしもし
Green forces, do you copy?
Hey everyone, I went big at Vegas over the weekend and I'm thinking of buying a new fridge. Does anybody have any recommendations?
Wow, a popsicle buying a refrigerator. Is that kind of like shopping around for bad?
I'm just going to ignore that. I was thinking about getting an affordable one, but maybe I should pay a little extra if it's better for the environment.
Whoa, wait a minute. You can't just focus on the amount emitted from the refrigerator itself. Even if the product itself is eco-friendly, you need to look at how much CO2 is emitted during the production process as well.
How am I supposed to know about that?
Wanna moshi some refrigerator companies?
Hold up. That reminds me about a startup that our friend Tommy was talking about the other day. They provide a platform that manages the amount of CO2 emitted by companies. Let me call him up. Moshi, Tommy.
What is SINAI and who is Maria?
SINAI Technologies is a carbon accounting platform for major corporations, especially multinational organizations. And Maria is the CEO and co-founder of SINAI Technologies. What's unique about SINAI is that they focus on these massive corporations that have factories or offices or offer services all over the world. They're not just focused on one industry like the tech industry or small companies. They're going after the biggest polluters and helping them go to a low carbon economy. Hi, Maria. Thank you for joining us.
My big vision has always been to really decarbonize the world. We really want to provide solutions and data and insights that will help the biggest polluters in the world to make better decisions, because I don't think we lack money problem. It's not a money problem. It might be technological, but it's definitely a data problem. I think technology goes hand in hand with that, right? Technology development and finding alternative ways, but then all of that needs to be backed by data. If they want to just start with reporting, basically they would have to collect, activity data associated with natural resources, which means, for example, fuels, electricity, or waste. So if they are consuming diesel, for example, if they want to report, all they need to do is collect all of that diesel data. So how much diesel they are consuming for the entire company during a year. And they just multiply that number by an emissions factor. And then they have the total emissions equivalent to diesel consumption. But if they actually want to decarbonize, they need to know where that diesel is coming from. If it's coming from a blast furnace, or if it's coming from a car or a truck, they would have completely different solutions to be able to replace that diesel consumption so they can actually decarbonize. So they need to take a step further towards granularity and precision. So our biggest mission and vision is to really be able to provide data insights that would help big companies to decarbonize. And that's what we're working towards. And this touches on carbon data first, GHG, greenhouse gases. This is acronym for greenhouse gases, which means not only carbon, but 7 other greenhouse gases that are associated with carbon, that are carbon equivalent. And that means also additional resources data like water, like pollution, like waste. So everything that is associated with consuming natural resources should be in this realm. One of our first customers that has been with us since the beginning is ArcelorMittal, one of the biggest steel producer in the world. They started with just one steel production facility in Brazil. Now we have 12 and growing in that front. Also, in terms of analysis, we're helping them to not only do their inventories, but also to define carbon prices, internal carbon prices, which means how much money they need to allocate internally to be able to achieve their emissions reductions targets. So breaking it down, their targets on a yearly basis, because those long-term targets are inachievable if they don't break it down on a yearly basis, and they don't understand what is the CapEx needed and OpEx needed in each year so they can move the needle forward. We have Siemens as well doing similar valuations. We have Natura, which is one of the biggest cosmetic companies in the world. They own the Body Shop, and they are also, their headquarters is based in Brazil, but they are global. They have operations, I think, in 30 countries or something, and they have global brands as well. Natura is one of the companies that I admire the most in terms of sustainability. We also have customers in Japan. So our biggest markets are Brazil, US, and Japan. In Japan, our biggest customer is Mitsubishi Bank. We are evaluating all their branches across the globe, across 60 plus countries. The product is in Portuguese, Japanese, and English. Spanish is going to be our next language, but we have been global very since the beginning. So in 2020, we started Y Combinator. Actually, at the end of 2019, we started winter. We got accepted into winter 2020 YC batch. And then there were a few other climate companies. I think that was the first climate cohort that YC hosted. I think now they had so many other climate companies. The biggest challenges right now is definitely knowledge and expertise. This is, even though it's an old market, like carbon markets have existed for over 20 years, just now it had became mainstream. Everybody wants to talk about it, but nobody knows what to talk about it or knows the details of it. So I'm super happy that we have multiple channels to spread out this word and to really be able to educate again this generation and the next generation, because these are the ones that really need to be really knowledgeable about it. So being able to educate, and I guess one of the things that I like the most about having competitors is that they help with this education. And I think this is great. It just shows that there is more traction and there is more need, and they are definitely helping with that education. But the more we are able to talk about this and spread this knowledge.
When you think about the carbon accounting space in the next 5 years, how it's going to look like? Is it going to be one winner, or is it going to be so many winners? How would you see the future?
I think there'll be several winners for different segments of the market. SINAI, kind of to their customer base at these multinational corporations, it's a great place to play because these are big corporations that have a lot of capital to spend and they need to decarbonize.
So from your perspective, what are the most important factors to make SINAI billion-dollar company or a multi-billion-dollar company?
I think it really just has to do with being able to build a solution for these big corporations, for the corporations to feel the pain financially, and for them to understand that there are implications, not just environmental implications, but strategic business implications if they don't decarbonize. They might have to deal with, they might have risk to their balance sheet. They might have a hard time hiring or retaining employees who want to work on things that are part of the low carbon economy.
Moshi moshi, moshi moshi.